holding Gemara's extracted Chullin, chapter 3, Eilu Tereifus is the name of the chapter. We're holding in Daf Samech Dalad of 64a1. Ubrei dogim, like the signs of the eggs of kosher birds, so are the signs of the roe of kosher fish. The Gemara resumes its citation of the Brisa. V'sanyo gabe veitzim, and it was taught in the Brisa regarding eggs. Eilu simone veitzim. These are the signs of kosher birds' eggs. Kol shekrideres ve'agulgeles. Any egg that is
spherical.
Any eggs that is spherical and round. Roisho echod kad ve'roisho echod chad, with one of its ends rounded and the other end tapered. Tehora is kosher.
Pointed, right?
Yes. Shnei roisheo kadin or shnei roisheo chadin, but if both of its ends are round or both of its ends are tapered, tmein, it is not kosher. Chelboin mibachutz v'chelmon mibefnim. If the albumin, if the protein, the white, is on the outside and the yolk is on the inside, tahira, it is kosher. Chelmen mibachutz v'chelboin mibefnim. If the yolk is on the outside and the albumin is on the inside, tamea, it is non-kosher. Chelmon v'chelboin mu'rovin zeh v'zeh be'adur shiveitzas hasheretz. If the yolk and the albumin are mixed together, the white and the yellow are mixed together, it is known that this is the egg of a sheretz. One who buys eggs from an idolater can ascertain whether they are kosher by examining their features. Why does Shmuel's father require that the idolater identify the species to which the eggs belong? Why even to ask him? You can just look and examine it. The Gemara says, the Gemara answers, it is necessary in a case where the eggs are cut open to the shape of the shells.
If they're already cut open, then you can't tell what
they're not recognizable. Yeah. The Gemara asks further, but even so, let the buyer examine the configuration of the yolk and albumin, and determine on that basis whether or not the eggs are kosher. The Gemara answers, Betrufis Bekar, Shmuel's father refers to a case where the eggs were beaten in a dish, so the yolk and albumin are no longer in their natural configuration. But when the eggs are in the form beaten, may we actually buy them from idolaters? Tanya, it was taught in a Brisa, and we may not sell the egg of a treifa bird to the idolater. When are we allowed to sell? If you have an ostrich in your backyard and it has eggs, or any kind of birds that has a non-kosher bird, you're allowed to sell it to idolater only if it's trufa, or only if it's beaten, unless it has beaten in a bowl. Therefore, because we want to make sure that the idolater is not going to sell it to a Jew. So if it's beaten, if it's scrambled up, then if he wants to sell it to a Jew, he's not going to be able to, because a Jew would not buy it from him. So how come over here Shmuel speaks about a case where it's scrambled up, and we just asked him. We asked him, what is it? He said, oh, it's a chicken bird, then you can buy it. How is it possible? How can you trust him? Elamar Abizera, Simonin Lavdo Raisa. The signs of kosher eggs have no basis in biblical law. For if you do not say so, consider that which Ravasi said above. on 62b, there are 8 questionable cases. 8 species of birds whose kosher status is in doubt. Why should there be a lingering doubt about this matter? Livdok beveitzim d'deu. Let us simply examine the eggs of these 8 species and see if they have the shape and configuration of kosher birds' eggs. Therefore, you'll learn from these that the signs of kosher eggs have no basis in biblical law. When buying eggs from an idolater, therefore, it is not sufficient to examine their shape and configuration. The seller must specify the particular kosher species to which they belong.
If he lies.
So it's not enough to see what he tells you. You have to do 2 things. You have to hear what he has to say, because there are 8 questionable cases because of the.
Oh yeah, my 8 Ringo.
So because of the 8 questionable cases, therefore you have to also ask him, examine it and also ask him. But then, for what purpose did the Tana teach the signs of kosher eggs? This is meaning, if the examination is not sufficient, what's the point of even doing it? Why does the Tana teach me the signs of kosher eggs? This is what he meant to say. Shnei rosheo kadin or shnei rosheo chadin. If both ends of the egg are rounded or both ends are tapered.
Pointed.
Yeah, over here they're right tapered, which means the same thing. Or the yolk, the chalmon, is on the outside and the albumin is on the inside, then the egg is definitely non-kosher. Reisho chad, kad, but if one end of the egg is tapered and one end is rounded, and the albumin is on the inside, on the outside, while the yolk is on the inside, and in addition, the idolater tells you they are eggs of such and such a bird, and the bird that he specifies is a kosher one, then you can rely on him. Bistama, but when the idolater states that the eggs are from unspecified kosher bird, you may not rely on him, even though the eggs possesses the signs of kosher ones. The ika, the urva, the damale, the yaina, because there are some non-kosher eggs that share these kosher characteristics, such the eggs of an oirev, which can occasionally resemble the eggs of a pigeon, and that's why you have to hear what he has to say, and you also have to examine.
From where we know that the source of these rules of the eggs, Torah tells us?
No, it's not a biblical Chachamim. Yeah. So Omar Mar, we just learned before. Learn from this that the signs of kosher eggs have no basis in biblical law. No basis in biblical law. Omar Mar, the Gemara turns its attention to the Brice's final clause. Omar Mar, the master in the Brice said, "Chelbon vechelbon mu'rovin zeh b'zeh." If the albumin and the yolk here, mixed together, bi'adua she'iveitzas hasheretz, it is known that this is the egg of a sheretz.
Can I ask a question? Wouldn't you know, you think that the egg of a sheretz would be very, very small, because a sheretz is much, much smaller than the egg of a bird. So couldn't you just look at it and say, is it a tiny little egg, it must come from a sheretz?
Yeah, but first of all, there's two things. Number one is, could be that a sheretz is could be that when they say sheretz is not what we interpret as a sheretz, is something
Okay.
small, it could be something bigger. For example, in the Torah it says that in the time of the war with Yeshua, Hashem sent the wasp, the tzira. And when we read
to
Rashi,
attack.
it doesn't say it was some kind of a bird.
It could be a turtle or crocodile. That's what it says here.
There you go.
Okay,
So it could be, if you've seen a crocodile eggs, they're big.
okay. thank you.
Alligator's
That's
egg.
good.
So that's one. That's one thing that I thought about. And another thing is you can have, even if let's say that it's a small one,
Right.
you can have pigeon eggs are very small. You have maybe a quail eggs that are very small.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yes.
Would it be possible to like shake the egg and make like a mix hard-boiled egg, like to mix the yolk with the other part in the egg, or is that not possible to do? And would it be kosher?
I never tried, but if you know that it's from a kosher bird, then you can cook it any way you want. The idea over here is that when you open it and you see that it's mixed together, then it's a sign of non-kosher bird or sheretz.
That's the only sign that we know? If it's mixed together,
It's impossible to break an egg like this. It's impossible.
I think
Yeah,
that
right,
it's not. It's
right.
one of the signs. We also have the signs about being tapered on one area and being rounded on the other. So, lama ilchata, in
When a
regard.
person does shluach hakein, he has to know that the bird is a kosher bird. You can't just see the bird that's sitting on its nest and say, okay,
Correct.
I'll do the mitzvah and take the eggs. You have to know.
You can see the bird on the nest, but you
But
have to put away.
No, but you have to know if it's a kosher bird.
Yeah, sure.
Lama ilchata, in regard to what law is this information pertinent? The Gemara answers, Amar Avuko Bar Chama, Loimar Shimrikmu v'nikvu. To tell us that if the egg had a formed embryo inside it, and its shell was pierced. There's an embryo, there's a baby that is growing in there. Metamu b'chadoshu. It conveys tuma when the embryo is dead and has the volume of a lentil, it conveys tuma.
So you know what? I used to work in a place in Vineland. They had a chicken farm. So my friend, he gave me a little job, and they had candlers. They had all day. The people would sit there like this to make sure there was no blood in the eggs.
Goes to a box, a light box.
You have a little box with a light, and you're like this. You put the box, and I would pack
So
the
if
box.
there was an embryo in the egg,
It was no good.
and it was the size of a lentil and you touched it, it would come tummy.
Well, I didn't touch it.
I'm
They
just
don't-
saying that's what
So
we
they had-
just
I wonder if
read.
They had all goyim. They had all goyim. He had all goyim
Right.
doing the job.
So Matkif Ravina objected to this. V'dilma de Nachoshi, he said, but perhaps, here another example for you, Biakov. It says, but perhaps it is the egg of a snake.
Uh-huh.
You've seen a python eggs are probably big, no? Python? Oh, it's probably big.
Python,
It's probably a big one, no?
I haven't seen. I'm not close to snakes.
In Brazil, they have a lot of them, no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
anacondas.
Allegedly,
Anacondas.
Everglades, they got all these snakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are like this.
Perhaps it is the egg of a snake which does not convey tumah.
Why not?
It says in 22, although every sheretz, creeping creature, is prohibited for consumption, not every sheretz conveys tumah. Only 8 specific shrotzim listed in scripture. A snake does not convey tumah, but it reproduces by laying eggs. And the yolk and the albumin of its eggs are mixed together.
Wow.
Now you know. You open an egg, and you see it mixed
It's
together, it's a
snake.
good chance that it's a snake eggs.
Oh, yeah,
You're not going to find that from Costco.
We heard today on the news that people in Venezuela now are so hungry they'll eat anything. Anything they can eat.
But the United States gonna put this Maduro in jail.
It's not for the United
They're
States.
telling the United States is going there.
They're sending troops?
Yeah, not troops yet, but they're there.
I
They're
don't
there.
like it. I
I
don't
heard
like it.
yesterday.
Anyway,
The Venezuelans could take care of themselves.
Ella Omar Rava said, She'im rikmo ve'acholo. The Brisa means to inform us that if the eggs had a developing embryo inside it, and one eats the embryo, lo yikear leo mishum sheretz hasheretz al haaretz. He incurs lashes for transgressing the prohibition against eating a sheretz that creeps upon the ground, rather than the prohibition against eating sheretz of fowl. Iachi.
But, okay, that must be talking about a kosher egg, because obviously if you're gonna eat.
Yeah, if it is so that the Brisa is concerned with the prohibition for eating the embryo, my area that mea, why does it specify the characteristics of the egg of a non-kosher species? Afilu de teheronami, even an embryo in the egg of a kosher species is subject to the same prohibition. The Tanya kol asheretz asheretz al haaretz. Scripture states that every sheretz that creeps upon the ground is an abomination. It shall not be eaten. The word every comes to include newly hatched kosher chicks whose eyes have not yet opened. Since even newly hatched chicks are included in the sheretz that creeps prohibition, unhatched embryos are surely included. And since this pertains to embryos of kosher birds, it surely also pertains to those of non-kosher birds or shrotzim. If in fact our Brisa deals with the prohibition of an embryo, it need not have specified the characteristics of sheretz eggs. The Gemara answers, Midrabanon, the stated prohibition against eating newly hatched chicks or embryo of kosher bird is actually a rabbinic decree. Ukero asmachto ba'olmo, and the verse that the Brisa cites is merely an asmachto, which means a scriptural support for the decree. Biblical law, however, permits the consumption of newly hatched kosher chicks, as well as kosher eggs that have begun to form embryos. By contrast, embryos of non-kosher birds or shrotzim are forbidden biblically under different prohibitions. The embryos of non-kosher birds are subject to the prohibition against a sheretz of fowl, and those of shrotzim are subject to the prohibition against a sheretz that creeps upon the ground. For this reason, our Brisa needs to distinguish between eggs of shrotzim and those of fowl. It's a long discussion on it, but I'm going to read to you the summary. It says, sheretz eggs containing, in 3, in the bottom, it says summary, the sheretz eggs containing embryos are prohibited biblically under the category of sheretz hasheretz al haaretz, a sheretz that creeps upon the ground. Eggs of non-kosher birds containing embryos are prohibited biblically under the category of sheretz ha'oif, sheretz of fowl. One who violates either of these prohibitions after receiving a specific warning incurs malchus, lashes. Eggs of shrotzim or non-kosher birds that do not contain embryos are prohibited biblically because they are products of forbidden creatures but do not carry the penalty of malchus. Eggs of kosher birds containing developing embryos are prohibited by rabbinic decrees. According to Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov, This pertains also to newly hatched chicks whose eyes have not yet opened. Concerning eggs that contain fully developed chicks, see Rashi 298 Dibor Matchil Froyach. The preceding represents the view of Rashi and Rambam. For another opinion, see Rashbo and Teras Abayis and Mishmeres Abayis, beginning 2:4. Tanu Rabbanon, having concluded discussion of how to identify kosher eggs, the Gemara turns to other laws pertaining to eggs. Tanu Rabbanon Geulei Veitzim. Geulei Veitzim Mutaris. That which exudes from eggs is permitted.
Meaning that they were cooked?
If you look at number 4, it explains it. It says, if non-kosher eggs were boiled together with kosher ones, the kosher eggs remain permitted. We are not concerned that the non-kosher eggs exuded some of their taste into the water, and from there it was infused into the kosher eggs, thereby rendering them forbidden, because eggs do not exude any significant taste when they are boiled. This pertains to eggs in their shells, obviously. So if you had non-kosher eggs with kosher eggs,
Can cook together.
it's kosher. Meaning, whatever was non-kosher remains non-kosher, whatever is kosher remains kosher. They're not, the fact that they were intermingled together does not mean that they transmitted anything to each other. Yeah, there's no noit and tam at all. Tanu Rabbon Geula Veitzim Utoros, that which exudes from eggs is permitted. Veitzim Uzoris, regarding unfertilized eggs upon which a hen brooded, I guess she was sitting on it. Nefesh Yofa Toichlem, a person who is favorably disposed toward such things may eat them. If you look at 6, it says, one who is not squeamish, and can eat things that others find revolting is permitted to eat these eggs. Meaning, some people that they are not, they eat anything.
Yeah.
They don't have.
Chimes.
Yeah.
No, you don't find it revolting.
In the Philippines, they have the most disgusting thing ever. It's called balut, and it's a duck egg that's like days old with the embryo, like everything fertilized in it. And they only have it at night. You can't buy it in the day because it's so nasty and ugly. But people love it. They get it, and the older it is, like this guy in front of me, he was eating ones that were over 20 days old. And full thing in there, they eat that.
Yeah.
It's gross.
But this is unfertilized eggs. The Gemara speaks unfertilized. There's no embryo in there.
Right now, that's so crazy. These people, that's even worse.
Yeah. Nefesh Yofa Teichlem, a person who is favorably disposed towards such things may eat them. Nimtza Laker Dom, if a spot of blood was found on an egg, Zoyrek Esadam V'Echel Hashar. You can get rid of the blood and eat the rest. You can discard the blood and eat the remainder of the egg.
By the way, I think I remember that when you're boiling eggs, you should never have an even amount. You should boil like 3
Right.
or 5, because if there's a problem, it's bottle.
Right, correct. So Omar Birmiya, והוא שנמצא על קשר שלו. This applies that after discarding the blood, one may eat the egg. This applies only when the blood spot was found in the kesher. If you look at the picture, it shows you, we have a nice picture over here of the eggs. If it was found elsewhere, the point is that if it was found elsewhere, the entire egg is not kosher, is forbidden. So when is it kosher? When it's found in the kesher. You see the kesher, what connects. This is the kesher. No, what connects it shows you, Kasher Shechabon, what connects the
If you
album,
find there, it's kosher.
the albumen and the yellow.
It's almost like a
It
little
connects the white and the yellow.
It's almost like a little
I don't know.
umbilical cord.
Yeah, it looks like
We find it, it's done. My wife looks at it every time she looks at it before she does anything with it.
right. So this is the Kasher. It seems like it's connecting between the albumen and the yolk sac. So if it's on the kasher, then it's kosher. But if it was found elsewhere in the anywhere in the egg besides the kasher, it's forbidden. Tani dostai avua de Rav apotriki. Dostai, the father of Rabbi Apotriki, taught the following brisa. They taught that the egg is permitted only where the blood spot was found in the albumen of the egg. But if it was found on the yolk of the egg, afilu beitza asur, then even the remainder of the egg is forbidden. So he said that on the chelman is fine, but meaning on the white is okay, but on the yellow it makes it forbidden. My time, the shodo tichlo b'chulu, because the corruption is presumed to have permeated the entire egg.
Corruption means the
When it's
spoiled,
on the yellow.
right?
Yeah,
Means
rotten,
rot-
yeah.
You can go out the corruption, the element that destroys the egg, the blood, probably already is manifested all over. Amar le Rav Gevia mibei Kosil Ravashi ipchotani. I learned the opposite. Tana kamei de Abai, a teacher of Baisa taught the above Baisa before Abai in the reverse form. Ve'Abaye hu the taught Sonia leoche, and it was Abaye who corrected it for him to read this way as it stands. That the chelmoin, that the white, if it was found on the yolk of the egg, that even the remainder of the egg is forbidden. From where is it derived that the egg of a non-kosher bird is prohibited for consumption biblically? It is stated in the list of birds that may not be eaten, and the bas hayano, which literally means daughter of the ostrich. V'chibas yesh lo leyano. Now, does the ostrich have a daughter? Why is it called bas yanu? Does it bear life young? Moses says no. Loi ela ezo. Rather, what is it? What is this daughter to which the Torah refers to? Basayano, zu veitzat meo. It is the egg of the ostrich and any other non-kosher bird. V'dil ma'inu shemayu. Perhaps the basayano is the actual full name of the ostrich. That's how modern Hebrew. This is how you call ostrich, bat yana. And the verse should not be construed as referring to an ostrich egg. And what says lo sakadaitoch, it should not enter your mind that the bird is called bat hayana or bas hayano. Dechtiv bas ami la'achzor kayenim b'midbar. For it is written elsewhere, the daughter of my people has become cruel, like ye'enim in the desert. It says in Lamentations 4:3, note 18. This verse omits the prefix basayan, or rather it says ye'enim. We see that the name of the ostrich is yana, not bat hayana. Bat hayana must indeed refer to the offspring of the ostrich, its egg. So veloi, but is the full name of the bird, not bat hayana, Veha ksiv he'esem isped ketanim ve'evel kivnois yano. It is written, I will make lamentation like the jackals, katanim. Those who are, the tanim, they cry. Ooh, ooh, all night, they go like this.
Those are the
No,
hounds, the
no,
hounds.
that's the jackals. Tanim. Tan, in Israel, in the deserts, they it's like the wolves, right? The wolves, they cry. So they have also
Is there another
sound.
word, Yalil?
Yeah, it's a type of crying. But anyway, it says, "As a misped ketanim, I will make lamentations like the jackals, and mourning like bnei Yano." Mourning, like bnei Yano. If bnei Yano refers to the Yana's eggs, how can they be described as mourning? It has to be describing the actual ostrich, when eggs cannot communicate. The Gemara answers, "Ki Yana zushim isaberes al boneo." The pasuk means, "I will make lamentations like the Yano which mourns its young." It says in 20 in the bottom, it says, ostriches lay their eggs in nests consisting of shallow depressions in the desert sand. They sometimes leave the eggs unattended, relying on the hot sand to keep them warm, but making them vulnerable to predation. Moreover, the dominant hen in each ostrich group pushes most eggs of other hens out of the nest, leaving them completely unprotected. As a result, the majority of ostrich eggs are destroyed by predatory animals and birds, and only a small percentage hatch. Possibly for this reason, the ostrich perpetual mourning is seen as an expression of sadness over its lost young. So they constantly have to suffer because of the
Yeah, but I think we're better off.
the dominant
not have a million more
the dominant one is
They say about the ostrich, when it's in danger, it sticks its head in the sand,
Yeah.
so it
Right.
doesn't see anything, right?
Gemara says, "V'aksiv eshochnu sham b'neis Yano," but it is written, "B'neis Yano will dwell there." So the Gemara answers, "Ki Yano zesh shechenesim boneo." Pasuk means martins will lie there, and the houses will be full of ferrets, like the Yano which dwells with its young.
Those are like weasels, right?
Yeah.
People have them for pets, which.
I used to have food.
V'oksiv techabdeini chasasod tanim u'v'neis Yano. It is written, "The beast of the field will honor me, jackals and b'neis Yano." If it should enter your mind that basa Yano refers to the egg of a Yano, how will you explain this pasuk? Beitza bar meimar shirei is an egg capable of singing praise. Obviously, then, bas Yano is the actual name of the bird. The Gemara concedes and therefore revises its initial explanation. Ela kesiv hayano chesiv bas hayano. Rather, there are cases in Scripture where the bird's name is written the Yano, and cases where it is written the bas hayano. For these are variant forms of the name. V'shani acho, but here, when the Torah lists bas hayana among the non-kosher birds, it is different. In this instance, it is obvious that the prefix bas is not written as part of the bird's name. The fosak saful ishtetevus for the scribe who writes a Torah scroll separates bas and hayano into two words, bas hayano. Thus the Torah calls the bird yano here, and bas refers to its egg. with the pasuk l'usafo, and just because the scribe separates them, besar teivos into two words, shema min atrei shem esninu, may we learn from this that they are two different references, meaning egg of the ostrich, and not a two-word name. Elamato es kedor la'emer, but accordingly consider the pasuk where it says kedor la'emer. It was one of the kings that Avram Avinu fought with. The pasuk l'usafu bisrei, which the scribe separates into two words, kedor la'emer. Achanami detartu shmeininu. It is indeed so that these are also two different references. Clearly they are not. It follows that Basayano may also be a single name, even though it is written as two words. So the Gemara answers, Omrei, they say that the cases are not comparable. Hosom b'shtei teivos pasukle, b'shtei shitin loy pasuklu. There, in regards to kedar la'emer, the scribe separates the components into two words. B'shnei shitin loy pasuklu, but he may not separate them completely by writing them on two lines. But here, in regards to basayano, afilu b'shnei shitin nam pasuklu, the scribe may even separate them completely and write them on two lines. Bas in one line and yano on the bottom, with bas at the end of one line and a yano at the beginning of the next. This proves that they are not a single name, but rather two separate words, one referring to the ostrich and the other to its egg. Continue, God willing, tomorrow.
The ostrich is not kosher.